Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Live from New Delhi, Connaught Place, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to New Delhi. We made it. I don't know if that's like I shouldn't be like, we made it.
Kind of like a Scranton thing.
Yeah, it's like, it's Scranton. We're in Scranton of India right now. We made it. We're out. It's a little heartbreaking. It's a little heartbreaking, Kaustubha. And we're back. I feel like already, Delhi, we're back in the Matrix. You know what you have to do in Delhi? You got to think Hastinapur. That's the old name of Delhi. You got to think, this is where the Pandavas lived. Arjuna was from here. Yudhisthira, the Kuru dynasty, Shakuni. They were all here doing their thing thousands of years ago. It's unbelievable.
It's a special place.
Special place.
Yeah, there's all those verses from like what is from Prabodhananda Saraswati. What is it?
Oh yeah, about Vrindavan.
Vrindavan. What is it? The Vrindavan something Amrita. I'm forgetting right now. Right? The Vrindavan Mahimamrita, where he's like saying, like if anybody that tells me to leave Vrindavan, they're my
I'll
worst
cut your
enemy.
throat.
They're like, what kind of fool would ever leave Vrindavan, having once been there?
I know.
Like he was heavy. He was heavy about that stuff. So it's hard.
It's like
to leave,
these
huh?
really loud, definitive statements like never ever leave Vrindavan.
Yeah.
We left Vrindavan, and things have radically changed, in my consciousness. But I will say that a very special last day. Thank you, Mara. I had a very special Mara was sick. She's been sick.
Yeah. She's better now.
We had this whole plan to do full Govardhan Prikram this morning. Wake up at 4, and she just could not get up. And she was just sick.
How's she doing now?
And so she looks pretty good. I drugged her.
NyQuil. Oh, she didn't know? You drugged her without her knowing?
She didn't know.
You're not
drink
supposed to do
this.
that.
It's a glass of water. Drink this bang lassi. The guy was making me a lassi today. What did I call him? Exfoliation Prabhu, maybe this lassi. This like Bridge Bossi that had the most beautiful skin. I called him Exfoliation Prabhu. But he started adding all these magical things to it. I was like, what is he gonna give me a bang lassi? That's what I thought I was about, the trip in Jatipur. But it wasn't. It was one of the most delicious lassis I've had. So I did this very nice morning walk alone without Mara. And
morning walk or a Prikram of
Well, I couldn't do the full Prikram because Mara was out, and I felt like I had to take care of her. So I knew she was going to sleep for a few more hours, and I just walked. And
that's the higher service, Raghunath, is to take care of Krishna's
that's
devotees.
what I felt. That's what I felt. And I sat with the hill, and I spoke to the hill. And this was my prayer. Govardhan. I chanted, prayers, etc. And then I said, Govardhan.
Where were you sitting? Where was this exactly?
Oh, it was great. It was right at the, Punchari, that beautiful dusty area on the way to Jatipur. I hopped a fence and got right close. I sat surrounded by monkeys and Govardhan Shilas.
A lot of monkeys
and a couple
in that
random
area.
pigs. And I just said, Govardhan, O Giriraj, I need you to assist me to step into my new incarnation, but I want a loud directive. Please give me a loud directive of who I'm meant to become.
Demanding prayer. Okay.
Yes. I demand through my prayers, and sometimes I'll scream them. But you know what? Krishna is real, and he understands my petition is to serve.
Did you get that directive that you're looking for?
No,
Not
still
yet.
looking. Still looking. But
It may come through the mouth of a friend. Sometimes it works that way. Sometimes it's right where you've always been looking all along, and that friend of yours will tell you exactly what you need to hear.
You right in the eye.
That is God speaking through him. Think about that. Just
maybe
think
not.
about that.
I'm waiting for some divine voice, unmanifested body.
Actually,
that-
Raghunath? Well, just anyway, that could have segued into
And I lost my phone.
Okay. I guess
I
you
left it in a
what I have
rickshaw.
to say.
Okay, I'm just putting that out there.
Maybe that was the directive right there.
Maybe.
You know? Yeah. But I was going to say
with
that
it though.
what I was going to say, Raghunath, is that we're getting now to again. I've been pumping this up, but to me, this is one of the most exciting sections of the Bhagavatam that we're going to begin today, where the Paramatma speaks to the soul. And in these commentaries, I've read them before, but I was reading them with new eyes or new ears today. I don't know if we'll get to what I'm talking about today, but Srila Prabhupada really gives this formula for how the spiritual path works, how the path of bhakti functions, how you actually get direction in life. And it's a very interesting combination, It's a combination between what you get externally and what you get internally. And he lays it out real simply, but it's beautiful stuff. Anyway, I'm looking forward to getting into that. So how did these directives come?
Before we get there, Mara, are there any announcements?
Well, our show tomorrow on Wednesday will be at the same time, 8 a.m. Eastern time. And then Thursday, there's no show because we'll be traveling.
Okay.
Show tomorrow. No show Wednesday. The day after tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, tomorrow's
Wednesday. And then show on Friday.
Yeah. What time do you guys want to do that?
Should we go back to 6?
Figure it out. Let's figure it out tomorrow.
Okay, we'll let you know tomorrow.
Might be wiped. I can't do it at 6. We get in.
Oh, I'm not demanding that you do it at 6, Truck. Just throw it out as a possibility.
Give us some time to grab our luggage and throw it on a train.
But usually the jet lag helps you going this way, right? You get up early.
Yes, it does. Hey, before we get on with the show, I got to give a special shout out to one of our others out there named William Burnett. And he's like a great, he listens to the show. And very interesting guy. Check this out. He's a friend. He's a friend of my buddy Christopher from Oregon.
Christopher, I didn't know you had a friend named Christopher in Oregon.
Yeah, Christopher. I don't know if you know him. Maybe you know him. He came to Nepal with me, and he's cool. Yeah, he and his wife, they came to Wisdom of Sages in Long Beach. Christopher.
Definitely.
Raven,
yeah. Who used to live on the Lower East Side.
Yeah. And he just said, look, you got to give a shout out to this guy. Listens to your show and he's going through so much. I said, well, what's his deal? He said, check this out. He said he's running an ultra marathon every day for 81 days. He's already 62 days in. Ultra marathon means it's like running a marathon that never stops. That never stops. He's already broken one Guinness Book of World Record for the most ultras in a row. And
I don't get it. What exactly is an ultra marathon?
I think an ultra marathon. Well, those ultra, that Rich Roll, he was an ultra triathlon. That means they do a triathlon like 7 days in a row, something like that.
Okay. Anything more than a marathon, apparently.
Here's what Wiki says. An ultra marathon, also called ultra distance or ultra running, is any foot race longer than the traditional marathon length of 42 kilometers.
Okay.
Various distances are raced competitively from the shortest common ultra marathon of 50 kilometers to over 100 kilometers, and 100 kilometers are both World Athletics record distances.
Okay.
But some 100-mile races are amongst the oldest and the most prestigious. Okay. Anyway, that basically it's the marathon never stops. So he's 62 days in of doing a marathon. This is like superhuman stuff. He's already So he's doing this to raise awareness of veteran suicide, as well as to raise awareness about alternative healing modalities. He's a show listener. He's running this run with the inspiration of the Gita, he says, being a huge factor. He is in incredible suffering right now, and it is nearly impossible to tell that from looking at him. His mantra is what you taught me and I taught him. I'm not the body. I'm not the mind. I'm something divine. I think maybe Christopher teaches him pranayama methods.
Okay.
5 years ago, Will was told by doctors he would be in a wheelchair by the age of 35. Within 12 years of military service, his injuries had incapacitated him. From PTSD to arthritis, Will clawed his way back to making what was said to be an impossible very possible. With 3 years of applied holistic health principles, a series of breathwork modalities, daily meditation, and consistent movement rehabilitation, Will healed his body. He'll not only healed his body, but he did so without any use of pharmaceutical drugs, talk therapy, or any Western medicine intervention. This is the story of how a totally and permanently impaired veteran became Australia's first person to run 81 consecutive ultramarathons from the Margaret River in Washington to Byron Bay, New South Wales. It's pretty amazing. I tell you, you know, it just shows the power of what this big salad bar has to offer with Vedic teachings. There's alternative healing. That's both physical, right? We're taking various herbs, powders, rasaiyans, etc. There is modalities for meditation. There's yoga. There's breathing. There's philosophy. Just like teaching a person, like a runner, that they're not the body and they're not the mind and they're not the senses. These things are all help frame out who am I and what am I supposed to do? And we think we've staked the claim of how to heal people and this is the way to do it. And you can't do it. We've got the special drug for you and this will help you make a fast track. No, it's the Vedic paradigm had it figured out millennia before. And so for those who are new to the show or listening to the show, we've got a giant cake and you can put your little pinky in and take some frosting and it's sweet and you'll enjoy it and it's pleasurable. You want to take a little bit more. You want to take 3 fingers in that frosting. You take 3 fingers. You want to take a little hunk of that cake. You put that. You want to slice yourself a big. You want to slice. You can have a big slice. You can eat it with a fork if you want. And if you know what, you can eat the whole damn cake. If you want, you can eat the whole damn cake. I'm serious. You don't have to eat the whole cake. You can take a little pinky in the frosting. But there's something for everybody on this podcast. Now. They're calling me. I hope they're not yelling at me.
Yeah. So someone's screaming about
someone being murdered in that room. Well, this is the deal. All I'm saying is, wherever you're at listening to this podcast, there's something for everybody. Take what you need from it. And if it's too much, I say, you know what, this cake is too rich. Don't take it all. Don't take all the cake. Take what you need to nourish yourself and to enliven yourself, to heal yourself. And then what'll happen is it's strangely addictive.
Eat more cake.
And then all you want is cake.
Okay. Thank you, Raghunath.
Yeah. We talk about the,
What was his name?
We talk about the deep stuff.
Tell me his name.
His good name?
Yes.
They say that in India. His good name. William Burnett. Shout out. Congratulations. You're impressive, William. Keep going.
Good luck, William.
Oh, okay. Professor Snooky. He's got it. Okay, good. There it goes. We're going to put that in the messages. Okay, thank you, Mara. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay. Should we dive into the sweet Amrita pot?
Let's do it.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam Mudirayat. Before we start in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. In loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmidatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. That's it. That's all you can do is you sit in appreciation for all your teachers. It's that if that's the one thing we take away from the show, what a valuable thing. We are made up of the mercy of other people. Write that down. Write that down. Kastuba. Ready? Text 51. We are Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Chapter 28, text 51.
So, Raghunath, this is the conclusion. Right now, we're at the conclusion of the whole Paranjana story.
Okay, it's been a long analogy.
It's been a long
good analogy, but a long analogy.
And in the next chapter, King Prachini Barhishat, he's going to turn to Nard and say, "Could you explain that all? Like, can you?" I know that was a big analogy. I don't understand. So then he's going to explain, who was Paranjan, what was the city of 9 gates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Did we skip that?
We'll figure it out. We'll have to look at it. That'll be probably next week, or let's see. But here's the end, where King Paranjana, it represents the soul. The city of 9 gates represent the body. He had his queen, who represented the intelligence, the dharmic intelligence. He strayed away from her. He came back to her. He enjoyed materially. But ultimately, he was dragged out of the body. Suffered.
Yeah.
Right?
Whether you enjoy materially or, spiritually enjoy, dharmically enjoy, either way, we're getting dragged out of the body.
Eventually get dragged out.
It's a great way to put it. We're getting dragged out of our body. It's not like I'm leaving my body. It's like, get the hell out of the body now.
Okay. So it's going to happen to all of us, right?
But I want to stay.
You can't.
I've got stuff here and I've got big plans. That's what it is, isn't it? It's a deep limitation of your plan, because we're always living in a plan, aren't we? We're talking about a plan. What's next?
You know what?
Going next?
I planned on summarizing this story.
I'm assisting you. Okay. I'm assisting the summarization. Right. I'm elucidating. I'm giving my purports.
No, I want your purports, but I just want to get through this summary, and so that we can get on to it. That's okay.
Okay. Enjoy the journey, my friend.
I am. I am enjoying the journey. So then he's dragged out of the body. He goes up into the heavenly planets. He goes down into the hellish planets. He enjoys. He suffers, and then he's born again. And this time he's born as a woman, right? We're not man, we're not woman. We're moving through both of these.
I think we are, but we're not.
This, that. So then he's born in the body of a woman, and in that body he's Vaidarbhi. That's her name, and she marries Malayadwaj, the king, who represents the guru. She represents the disciple. The guru, she follows the guru off into the forest, where he performs his austerities and performs his yoga, right? And departs. He leaves the body. He breaks the cycle that she's been in for so many lifetimes.
Mm-hmm.
And now her guru has passed away. Her husband / guru has passed away. She's placed his body on the funeral pyre. She's lit that flame, right?
You think she's gonna jump?
Which that was her plan, to jump.
Because that's a thing. That's a thing. Ladies, you love your husband? Prove it.
Don't go there. We're not encouraging anyone to do that. But
truthfully, it's the most romantic thing you could do.
It's powerful, I'll tell you that.
Couple goals.
Yeah. Okay. So she's watching the body of her husband / guru burn. Right? Yeah. Now think about this, Raghunath. I think this is the first lesson that we can take from this section in the Bhagavatam. It's coming. It's like she's crying, She's crying. The tears. I think the last verse you read, it said that even her, so many tears, her whole breasts, were covered in tears. So she's crying. And at that moment, someone comes to speak to her. Right? Now they say in the analogy, it's a brahmana. A brahmana means a wise person, right? A refined person, full of wisdom.
A person who understands Brahman.
Yeah, understands spirit, understands truth. Nice, Raghunath, nice. So now she's approached by this brahmana. What does the brahmana represent? Represents God within the heart, right? So here's a message we can take from it already, Raghunath, right? When does God speak with you, especially perhaps in those moments where we're suffering the most, right? Where we lose that which we're most attached to, where we're feeling the most vulnerable, the most alone. In those moments, we should be wide open to receive, to hear the voice of God coming to us in one way or another. Like, it may be internally, it may be externally, but in those times in life where everything that we feel is solid is getting shaken up, there's messages there for us, right? There's a messenger is coming for us. So here comes the messenger, text 51.
It's like we got Sirius FM, thousands of different channels. We're just clicking through. These are the different voices that we're hearing, and then we just land on the Paramatma.
Remember that
Through our
song,
spiritual
FM?
life, we're landing on the part, and then it comes in clear.
You remember that song, FM, Raghunath? You probably don't.
No, I don't.
It was Steely Dan, but no static at all. The whole thing we're trying to do, right, is clear out the static so that we can hear this voice clearly. Right?
Thank you, Squirrel Man.
That wasn't a squirrel. I was right on the point. That's not a squirrel.
No, you were contributing to my squirrel. You took it over. You added Steely Dan to it.
I brought it back. Well, yours was.
I had an analogy. I had like a Christ-like analogy.
Okay.
And you had to bring it into mundane music.
And I tied it in. Okay.
Okay.
Text 51.
51. My dear king, one Brahmana, who is an old friend of King Puranjana, came to that place and began to pacify the queen with sweet words.
Okay.
The Brahmana inquired as follows: Who are you? Whose wife or daughter are you? Who's the man lying here? It appears you are lamenting for this dead body. Don't you recognize me? I am your eternal friend. You may remember that many times in the past, you have consulted me.
Okay.
Seems like one of these guys ever walking the streets in Delhi and these guys just coming right up to you like, hello. This reminds me of like one of the guys we met.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, like, I think I told you that story once where, when you're doing Prikrama and Keshi got, like we would go in the morning.
Yeah.
I tell you this, once I was passing through, it's like when Raghunath and I used to stay in Vrindavan every day, right? Every morning. We would do the Prikrama. We'd circumambulate the entire town of Vrindavan, which takes about an hour and 45 minutes if you're walking real fast, about 2 hours or so, right?
Yeah.
And we would leave early in the morning and be dark and be cold, right? It was like in January.
Dark, cold, damp.
Dark, cold, damp.
A little scary sometimes.
Well, especially around Keshi Ghat, right? Because Keshi Ghat,
you got to go into like a tunnel.
Yeah, you go through these tunnels. It's like right on the bank of the river. And you go through, it's this old sandstone,
dilapidated
castle in a way,
it's like a king's palace.
A palace, and so there are these sandstone, stone tunnels that you kind of pass through. You pass through little dark areas, then you come back out, you see the river, then you duck in again. There's one place where
if there's no moon, it can be like pitch black.
It can be pitch black, and then you're turning these, you never know. There's monkeys. There's a lot of monkeys,
like with
major drop-offs, and they don't have any kind of safety railings or anything.
Everything's sketchy. That you could fall in the river, perhaps a snake.
And you don't know who's.
I remember I was going through one of those tunnels with Dustin from Jai Yoga from Dead President's Lounge Tattoos in Albany, and he grabbed my arm. He's like a big tattooed dude, and we were going through one of those tunnels, like, pitch black, and he grabbed my arm and he said, "I don't know about you right now, but I'm scared out of my ass right now. I'm really, really scared." It's scary.
Oh, and we would do it every day, right? We pass through it. You just chant and you go for it. So, but one time I was passing through there, and there's this one man in there, and he wanted me to stop. He wanted to do my astrology. He wanted to do all these different things.
It's like 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, I'm moving on. And he's kind of demanding, you kind of start the conversation. You know how people do that to you, like when they're trying to con you or something. They come on like real friendly.
I mean, we're from New Yorkers. We've been scammed our whole life. We get it. You can't scam a New Yorker. Scam anybody else. Scam Scranton, Davey. But you can't. It's just like you can't do it to New Yorkers. We're the scammers.
Yeah. They
as soon as somebody talks to me on the street, I turn them off. It just happened in Delhi. We were walking down the street. Let's move our legs. We've been in the car for 3 hours. Walking down the street. Guy just starts friendly talking to me, telling me of really good places to shop and stuff like that. He's like, whatever you do, don't go forward there. It's very bad there. People, I was like, oh, don't go forward. That's exactly where I'm going. Thank you very much.
Maybe he was he probably was a nice guy just trying to help you.
He was nice. Yeah, he was probably. Indians are also nice. I got to take that into consideration.
Okay. But yes. In any case, this guy was trying to get me to buy some gems or do my chart. He was trying to get something out of me, But you come, this way the scammer works is they come on real friendly and they make it awkward for you to just like walk away. It's like they make it seem like you're the one that's being rude and.
I know.
That's how
make them feel rude trick.
Yeah.
And the thing about New Yorkers, we're okay being rude.
Yeah, I can be rude. It's no problem.
I can be rude. That's part of our persona.
Well, I wasn't rude, but I wasn't going to have him kind of manipulate me, you know. And so then I was like, well, I'm going, and he kind of started he started like raising his voice and demanding. He said, I could be a demigod in disguise. Like he's trying to pull it. It's like, no, you know why? Because the demigods in disguise don't tell you that they are, you know.
I could be a demigod in disguise. Oh. You're going to pull that card on me? You're going to pull that card?
The demigod in disguise?
I could be a demigod card?
Yeah.
I do that to my kids all the time. Clean your room. Oh, come on. I could be a demigod in disguise. Then they pull that on me. So could I.
Oh, a good one. Yeah. Flipping on you.
Touche, young child.
Okay, but this is not a demigod in disguise, Raghunath. This Brahman, this is the Paramatma. This is the super soul. And he's saying, here's the first message. Don't you recognize me? You know, first he says, who are you? Who are you? That's the first thing we have. Who am I? Right? Like we have to ask ourselves. And he says, don't you recognize me? You know, don't you remember me? I am your eternal friend. Right? I am your eternal friend.
This is the Paramatma.
This is the Paramatma.
Waiting for us to turn our life over to God and instruct us and lead us. It's the GPS that it's been like lost under the seat, etc.
Yeah. He says that, don't you remember you consulted with me many, many times in the past. How many prayers? How many prayers? How many prayers have we said?
How many mantras? How many devotional songs? How many times have you hit your knees, Kostuba? Lifetimes.
Oh, so many times, right? Don't you remember me? You've
banged my head against the wall, crying, tears, late at night. What happened?
Lifetime. Yeah, and how many lifetimes?
How many lifetimes did I lay in the gutter crying? Was my heart broken? Crying. Did I lose everything I owned? Crying. Did I watch a loved one die? Crying. Praying. All of them praying in different situations, different personas, different incarnations of myself. How many tears have I shed before I have to go back to Krishna?
Them all? What if you could collect
oceans of tears, Prabhu? Oceans of tears.
Oh man, we don't know how many lifetimes we've been through, right?
No.
Okay, now this is what Prabhupada writes in this commentary. Are you ready, Raghunath? And this,
hit me.
I think this is going to get to the points that I was speaking about before, if I remember correctly. I kind of feel like maybe we'll read this purport a bit. I kind of feel like sharing everything that he shares, kind of like go ahead and giving the, what do they call that? When you kind of give away the story. Spoilers. I kind of feel like spoiling the whole, because it's good to get the whole message in one shot. Should I do that now, or should we read this commentary?
You ever cried? You cry?
Yes, Raghunath, I have cried.
No, you don't. I cry a lot. I'm like a crier. I cry on the Diamonds Are Forever commercial.
Okay.
I cry at least 3 times during Sound of Music.
All right. I don't watch Sound of Music.
Do you cry? I really want. That's a real question.
I answered it for you. Now you can believe it or not. That's up to you. I answered it, and then you said I was lying. Basically, I answered.
You're a little robotic. You're a little robotic.
I'm not.
No, you're not robotic. You're just like thoughtful. You're extra thoughtful. You think everything through.
Anyway,
it's a good thing, I think, in Bhakti to be I don't know. It's good to cry too, but it's a good thing to be a little bit extra rational and thoughtful.
Both those sides can be helpful, right?
You know what?
Head and heart.
I remember you. You know when you cried?
When?
I remember when Ayendra died. You cried.
Oh.
I remember that.
In front of you?
I can't remember, but I remember I was like, "Holy crap!" Kostuba's crying.
Wow. Yeah.
Never seen that.
Well, Prabhupada says right here in the commentary, when a person's relative dies, renunciation is automatically visible. Consultation with the super soul seated within everyone's heart is possible only when one is completely. Now, here we go, Raghunath. You got this commentary pulled up?
No.
Why don't you?
Okay.
Pull it up. I want to work through this with you.
Okay.
You pull this up, and maybe I'll do this right now, Raghunath. Why don't I read the whole message that comes from the super soul? Okay, I'm going to read that right now, and because we may spend 2 weeks working through this, but I want to get it all out one shot. You ready?
Yeah.
So here's what the super soul says to the soul. Here's what the Brahmana says to Paranjana, who is now Vidarbhi. He says, "Don't you recognize me? I'm your eternal friend. You may remember that many times in the past you have consulted me. You gave up my company. This is the mysteries of the universe right here, just dropped in our lap, Raghunath. You gave up my company and accepted a position as the enjoyer of this material world. Right? That's
you want magic, you want the flow, you want the mysteries of the universe.
Right here.
Tuned into the right podcast, people. It's right here. Open your ears. This is the question behind all your questions. You got a lot of questions? Hey, where can I go here? How can I do this? Your real question is, how do I enjoy myself? That's the real question. Kostuba's about to reveal the mysteries of the universe. Sit up tall, take a few deep breaths, chug your chai, and listen to what he's going to say. Go, Kostuba.
Okay. So again, the super soul saying, don't you recognize me? I'm your eternal friend. You may remember that many times in the past you've consulted me. You gave up my company and accepted a position as the enjoyer of this material world, right? You came into the illusion, into the matrix. That was your choice.
I enjoy this material world. That's what I'm here for. It's about me. It's all about me. How can I enjoy my senses? How can I stay locked into the machine?
Turn your back from that loving friend, right? Then he says, we've lived together in the same heart for many thousands of years.
Right.
Okay. In other words, you decided to turn your back on me and go into the matrix. I went into the matrix with you and lived in your heart with you for thousands of years. And then he says, and we are still far away from our original home. Oh man, it's like boom, right? We're still far away. With all of those songs, about being away from home, about where does all that come from? It's coming because we've wandered so far from our home, from our spiritual home, from our real home, right? So we've lived together in the same heart for many thousands of years. We're still far away from our original home. Since you left me, you have been traveling in different forms throughout this material world. Okay, Raghunath? I know you want your chai or whatever, but this is real important stuff. Since you left
They're bringing me golden milk.
Since you left me, you've been taking on one form. You're a man, you're a woman, you're this, you're that. Since you left me, you've been traveling in different forms throughout this material world. And when you enter into a material body, you become overly absorbed in sense enjoyment and you forget your spiritual life due to your material conceptions. I'm a man. I'm a woman. I'm smart. I'm dumb. I'm attractive. I'm this. This will make me happy. That won't make me happy. You got lost, right? You became overly absorbed in sense enjoyment when you get that material body. You forget your spiritual life. And due to your material conceptions, and therefore you are placed, now get this, Raghunath, you are placed in various miserable conditions.
Yeah. Right. Like I said yesterday, you're placed in a box. Sometimes the box appears bigger. You're still living in a box. Sometimes the box is incredibly miserable. You're in a tight little box. You're born into, people are born into slavery. People are born into human trafficking. People are born missing limbs, missing an eyeball, missing a hand.
People are born missing an eyeball.
Yes, some are.
I haven't heard that.
Not funny, man.
I'm not
That's not funny. They're born missing.
I mean, I hear about people being born blind. That's one thing. I've never heard of a person
actually,
born missing an eyeball. It might
not be bad if you've never had an eyeball there. It might be.
Well, that can be a blessing too.
Ever think about that? If they didn't have an eyeball, do they ever feel like they're missing that?
If you're born blind, you mean?
You might feel like, you know what? This is normal.
You adapt. Yeah.
You adapt. Okay, my point is, the box is tight, or the box is a little more, or you have everything. And even if you have everything, it doesn't mean that everything's smooth. If you have everything, you could come from a cruel family, a wealthy, cruel family, or you could feel like life has no purpose. That's another thing. I've got everything. I have privilege, but I feel purposeless. Sometimes the people, just like those immigrants, like our parents, like that feeling like we got to survive to keep our bloodline going. We made it from Italy and now we've got to work hard. They've got and all the kids are working and making shoes and knitting, and you're getting pulled out of school. And there's like this feeling, there's a feeling like for the family, you could, sometimes when you're born with privilege in a bigger box, there could be a feeling of purposelessness. So my point, agreeing with your point, this isn't a squirrel, that we're in a box. And the box is ultimately miserable if you actually analyze it, unless you look over your shoulder and see that there is a person living in the box with you.
Is he naked? I know that.
That's been trying to talk to you all these years.
Okay.
He lives in your wall.
It sounds creepier when you tell it. We're gonna.
Lives in your wall. Oh, Krishna, that's a horror show.
Okay.
Okay.
So he's explaining, when you enter that body, you become absorbed in sense enjoyment, and you forget your spiritual life due to your material conceptions, and then you are placed in miserable conditions like you are right now. You're suffering, you're crying, right?
Yeah.
But he says, but you are not any of these external identities that you've adopted. That you're adopting one identity after. You're not any of these, right? He says, by the potency of my illusory energy, you're always shifting your sense of identity from one body to another, right? You wanted to enter the matrix. I created it for you, right? It's by my own coding that you asked for that you're buying into, that I am this avatar and I am that avatar, right? He says, and then he says this, you and I are composed of the same spiritual energy. And yet we are separate individuals, right? We're one but different.
Yeah.
He says, in this way, we've been living together in the heart. And by hearing this from me, you can regain your memory of who you really are.
That's what we're doing here. That's what sadhana, that's what our bhakti sadhana is. It's a remembrance of what we already are. Dancing around in the material world in this meat puppet, right? The body.
Right.
Meat puppet, like that. Okay. Dancing around in this meat puppet of the material body, we get the great benefit by meeting a devotee of the Lord, someone who's been touched by the electric, the electricity, right, of the parampara, the disciplic succession.
Yeah.
And because of that, anybody who comes in contact with that current, now they become electrified. Tommy Fawcett, listening on Zoom today, he just got electrified by that faucet. He went to the Holy Dom. Now he's electrified, and I'm sure he's telling people. You know what I mean? And sometimes you let go and you drift away and you get back into the realm of illusion, and then somebody catches you again, and then all of a sudden you become electrified. And that's how we start to. Did we get talking about this?
Well, because the Brahmin was speaking to it and said, but by hearing from me, you can remember who you are again.
Yes, that we're in a process of remembering what we are, and it's by the mercy of great souls.
Okay, Rogan, I love that you've used this analogy of this electric current.
Yeah.
And because you see, now let's go back to the verse that we started with here, which was text 52, okay? Where the Brahmana, the super soul, says, who are you? Whose wife or daughter are you? Who is the man lying on the funeral pyre here? It appears that you are lamenting for this dead body. Don't you recognize me? I'm your eternal friend. You may remember that many times in the past you have consulted with me. This would make a great movie, right? Right? You there? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you say so? Okay.
Yeah.
A little verbal reaction is helpful for me. So now you mentioned this current, and really, Raghunath, we talk about gurus, we talk about God in the heart, really, it's just a question of where do we receive the current, right? This is, as spiritual practitioners, our business is to get connected to that current. Sometimes that current comes in the form of opening up a book and reading it, right? It's right. The Bhagavad Gita, that current is flowing through it. You know, we may or may not be, it's the energy's flowing through it. We may or may not, just like if you have like an electrical outlet, the energy's flowing through it. Now, if you stick a piece of plastic fork in there, you're not going to feel it. But if you stick a metal fork in there, you are, right? It's got the power. The question is, are we receiving it? So really our business is to become receptive to that energetic flow. And in this commentary, and I think the next one, Prabhupada's talking about that. We've talked about this a little bit in some of the past recent shows about how do I contact that, what is that flow of energy? We could say it's Divya Jnana, right? It's transcendental knowledge. It's the realization of and the remembrance of who I am and, what is my place, and the reestablishment of my own nature, Sat Chit Ananda. I'm eternal. I'm full of wisdom. I'm full of bliss, By reconnecting with that, we remember that, we feel that again. So, but where do we get it? Again, we may open up a book and read it. We may hear it from another person. That same energy may flow through another person to us through our ears. We may get it from within the own heart, in the form of the Paramatma. God may speak to us within the heart. How can I increase my reception to that flow? Now, Prabhupada's going to say some interesting things here. Right? You want to read the commentary?
Sure.
Whenever you're ready. You just dive right in there, Raghunath.
Which one?
52? Why don't you just pick one? How about to the one, the verse I was just reading?
52.
Thank you. Yes.
I thought we already read this.
No, okay. We just got started on it.
Okay. When a person's relative dies, renunciation is automatically visible. Consultation with the super soul seated within everyone's heart is possible only when one is completely free from the contamination of material attachment.
Okay, now that's important. All right. Yeah. In other words, he's saying if you're going to get that energetic flow from within the heart, you already have to be relatively free from material attachments. Otherwise, you're not going to be very receptive to that flow. Okay. You with me?
Yeah.
Stay with me right here, Rona. This is good. So you're going to like this. Okay. Next sentence.
One who is sincere and pure gets an opportunity to consult with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his Paramatma feature, sitting within everyone's heart. Okay. The Paramatma is always the Chaita Guru, the spiritual master within.
Yeah.
The Guru within.
Okay.
And he comes before one externally as the instructor and the initiator, spiritual master.
Okay. So what is it? What are the Sanskrit terms for that?
The Shiksha and the Diksha.
Yeah, Shiksha and Diksha gurus, right? So there's
or the Guru Varga, the family of gurus who God sends to us to light our path. It's pretty beautiful, isn't it? God sends messengers. Isn't it amazing?
It's amazing. And what's being said here, if we can understand this right, like when he says that Paramatma comes before one externally, the God that's within the heart appears before us externally as the instructor and initiator, spiritual master or guru. It's meaning that same flow is coming, right, through those people, right? Potentially. You with me?
Yeah, I'm on it.
So it can come from within, it could come from without. But what Prabhupada's indicating here is, unless you're already free from your material attachments, you're not so open to hearing the voice within. But when you find somebody that's living it, somebody that's embodying it, someone who's detached and kind and generous and detached, that is able to kind of lay out this path for you and help you with it, then you can really get the flow right there. Okay? You can really connect to that flow right there. Let us continue. Please continue.
The Lord can reside within the heart, and he can also come out before a person and give him instructions. Thus, the spiritual master is not different from the super soul sitting within the heart.
Carrying the same energy, right? It is Krishna, right?
They're not giving you instructions of this world.
Yeah.
They're giving you instructions how to escape the matrix. They're giving you instructions how to disassociate with the meat body as the self, the meat puppet as the self. They're giving you how to do that divine dance with the super soul, how to be in it, but not of it. These are the instructions. It's other world. That's why they call it satsang. That's why they call it a satsang. Because it's a sangha. You're coming together, but you're talking about sat. You're talking about eternal things, not temporary things, not
truth.
Who's been born, who died, who's getting married, who had a baby, what's the latest happening? How's Russia and Ukraine? What's going on in this world? It's not of this world. It's eternal. It's the eternal news. You want the temporary news? That's there. There's Fox, CNN. You can bicker about that for the rest of your life, right? There's Palestine and Israel. There's the news is out there. But what is the news on me? What is the news on my soul? That's there too. That's called the satsang. We talk about the eternal news of the soul. And it's in the heart and it's outside through the guru or through the messengers. Let's just call them messengers.
Okay, if you want to. For today, nice. We'll do that. That makes you happy. We'll do that. Messengers. Okay.
It just sounds, it sounds like guru sounds like, oh, guru. No one likes to hear that word guru.
That's where I want to go, because now what we're hearing is what Prabhupada is saying is that God comes in different ways. Transcendental knowledge comes to us in different ways. It can come from within the heart, but we're not so prone to hearing that, right? Because we don't walk around lifetime with God right there and we don't listen. Or God can appear in the form of a person. Not that that person is God, but they're carrying that God energy with them, right? They're carrying that Divya Gyana, that knowledge of truth, and they're merciful and they can share it with us. And that's a big red flag, right? You start waving that flag around because there's so many creeps that take this position, that artificially impose themselves as being qualified to play this role. And really, they're just trying to suck from you, right? They're just trying to get some kind of prestige from this, or money from this, or sex from this, or so many things. We see it again and again and again. And why is that? Because we're in this Kali Yuga where everything is upside down, and it's just a time for cheaters and cheated, and people want to be cheated. They don't want the real thing. They don't want to pay the real price
sex
for
with
it.
Me.
What?
They don't want sex with me.
No, but what I'm saying is this, Raghunath.
What do they want from me?
But well, here's my point, and I think I can speak for the both of us when I say this. That you and I, the people, and I get it, because especially I spent time as a brahmachari, right? 13 years, right?
13 years.
13 years as a monk, deeply, living within. No, not. I was going to say deeply contemplative. I was going to say trying to be
deeply contemplative. You still are deeply contemplative.
Trying to be. I don't consider myself deeply contemplative.
You cry sometimes too.
I do on occasion.
I cry oceans. You cry shot glasses. Okay. But you cry.
I do. My point is this, Raghunath, is that you and I spent 13 years as a monk, right?
Yeah.
And then I came out of it and I started, mixing more, like on a friendship level with like all different types of people.
With matter. Started romancing matter.
Also with matter, yes. But what I'm saying, and in those 13 years, I was the disciple of my guru, like he was there for me, and I was following his instructions. And I was kind of like one of those people deep in it, right? Like I was like, I gave my life, in those years, like I didn't have my own home. I didn't have my own money. I was just like, like a Marine, just like full on into it. Right. Yeah. And, but it was a circumstance where I was giving my heart and my time and my life and my words and my energy in service of another person. Right. And you were doing the same. Right. I'm not, and my point is that because we met people that weren't exploitive, because we met people that they had done the exact same thing with their guru, right? They gave their entire lives because they said, this is a beautiful thing. This is a wonderful thing to be able to practice this, understand this, share this. I'll give my life to it. I don't feel like I was exploited at all, right? There was, what did my guru get from me, right? Really?
Right, really. He made his bed a couple times, or
yeah, he really got nothing from me. He gave me so much. So these relationships are there. You can meet a person that's a guru. You might want to call him a messenger because it's like a little less triggering, right? But this is an authentic path, and there are people out there that live. Find someone that's a true representative. Find someone that's not exploitive. Don't go for the personality cult. But this is out there, and because there's so much fool's gold out there, you might think, oh, there's no real gold out there.
I like that. There is real gold out there. There is real gold, just because we've run into fool's gold.
Yeah.
And sometimes a person is a messenger, but they're sort of like not necessarily connected with the parampara, but they're giving you some enlightenment, or they're leading you towards this current. That's there too. I can see in my life where there's people in my life that weren't devotees of Lord Krishna, but they helped me add some ethical twist to my life that lifted me higher, or some positive thinking process that led me higher, some be responsible with my emotions, with my words, and it led me higher.
Okay.
And then it makes you very, very ripe, or analyze the world, be thoughtful. Then it makes you very ripe when you hear from that electric current.
Now, continue with that. Please continue with the commentary here.
Will do.
An uncontaminated soul.
An uncontaminated soul or living entity can get a chance to meet that Paramatma face to face, just as one gets a chance to consult with the Paramatma within his heart. One also gets a chance to see him actually situated before him. Then one can take instructions from the super soul directly. That's hearing from the messenger. This is the duty of the pure devotee, to see the bona fide spiritual master and consult with the super soul within the heart.
Okay, there's a formula right there, Raghunath, right? That to me, that's
Q&A, right?
Yeah, Q&A. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, in other words, it's not just, oh, God is speaking to me within my heart, right?
Right, because there's a lot of room for interpretation.
Yeah, so therefore there's internal and external. I'm connecting to this channel of divine spiritual energy internally from the heart, but I qualify for myself for that. I become capable of that when that sincerity and surrender is there, that I'm giving myself to the guru externally, right? And that it's a lot easier to hear that voice, you know. That voice will speak very clearly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You want to just read this last paragraph?
Yep. When the Brahmana asked the woman who the man lying on the floor was, she answered that he was her spiritual master, and that she was perplexed about what to do in his absence. At such a time, the super soul immediately appears, provided the devotee is purified in heart. That's the caveat there.
Right.
At such a time, the super soul immediately appears, provided the devotee is purified in heart by following the directions of the spiritual master. A sincere devotee who follows the instructions of the spiritual master.
Yeah, by following the instructions of the external representative, I become capable of being tuned into the internal form.
I think you have. A sincere devotee who follows the instructions of the spiritual master certainly gets direct instructions from his heart, from the super soul.
Boom. See, there's the combination, right? That's the formula.
Yeah. We're getting tag teamed. We're getting jumped.
Yeah.
By the guru and the Paramatma. They're double teaming us. They're giving us, they're just dropping info bombs on us. And they work in tangent.
But the idea part of it, like just like when Prabhupada came, he came as that messenger, but he also gave he demanded that people actually, you know what, you're going to have to change your life. You're going to have to let go of some things. You're going to have to take up some things, and through that, following that instruction, one becomes more capable of being instructed from within.
Sure.
Okay. Why don't we wrap it up and just finish this paragraph?
Yeah, it's amazing how these gurus can come and don't tell people to let go of these certain bad habits. Yeah, it's quite shocking. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm supposed to do physical fitness, yoga routines, and then all things will come. Hello.
Or even that.
We're running out of time. Oh, we're running out of time.
That's why I think kind of saying, why don't we finish the paragraph?
By wrapping it up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
I'm feeling high today. So finish. Okay. A sincere devotee who follows the instructions of the guru, spiritual master, certainly gets direct instructions from the heart of the super soul. Thus, a sincere devotee is always helped directly or indirectly by the spiritual master and the super soul. This is confirmed in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's the biography of Chaitanya. Mm-hmm. Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bij. If the devotee serves the spiritual master sincerely, Krishna automatically becomes pleased. Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada. By satisfying the spiritual master, one is eternally the friend of the living entity and always remains with him. The super soul has always been ready to help the living entity, even before the creation of this material world. It is therefore stated here, Yanagre Vichatarta, the word agre means before the
Hold
creation.
it, you skipped a bunch of stuff, Raghunath.
I skipped a line?
I think you skipped like a lot of them or something like that.
Or you do it.
Okay, so it's quoted that verse. Then it said, by satisfying the spiritual master, one automatically satisfies Krishna. Thus, the devotee becomes enriched by both the spiritual master and Krishna. Okay? The super soul is eternally the friend of the living entity and always remains with them. The super soul has always been ready to help the living entity, even before the creation of this material world.
Mm-hmm.
It is therefore, because the spiritual world is going through cycles of creation and destruction, right? It is therefore stated here, yanagre vichacharta. The word agre means before the creation. Thus, the supersoul has been accompanying the living being since before the creation. Wow. Don't you remember me?
Don't you remember?
Don't you? I'm your friend.
I'm living in your house.
I'm in the box.
The voice is coming from within the house.
Right.
Mara, what was it like to have your day on stage and then it get taken away by Kastuba? I was like, here's the mic. Mara will read it. And you're like, no, she won't.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that. I would have been happy to have Mara read it. I didn't even pick up on that.
It was like, America's Got Talent. This is your big chance. Oh, I'm sorry. You're next.
Okay, tomorrow Mara can read some purports.
Okay. Your day in the sun. Okay, give us some takeaways, Mara.
Okay, I got some goodies today.
Mm.
We are made up of the mercy of other people.
Yeah, Raghunath told her to write that one down. I remember that. Very good.
We will all be dragged out of our body.
Dragged.
Whew.
Kicking and screaming often.
When we feel most alone, listen for God.
Mm-hmm. Listen. It sounds like Raghunath's voice.
Clear out the static. That would be a mug.
That's a mug. Clear out the static.
Our eternal friend is always with us.
In the closet.
We've cried
With
oceans
clothes
of tears
on.
over lifetimes.
What's
Oceans
that?
of tears.
Oceans of tears.
We're Oceans of Tears from Scranton,
That's the
Pennsylvania.
emo band.
Yeah.
There's a voice living in the wall of your box.
That's a weird one. Is it a cat?
We're in the process of remembering what we are.
Ah, I like that so much.
Our business is to become receptive to the electrical current.
There's no business like it.
Listen
business
for
is
the
good.
eternal news of the soul.
What?
Listen for the eternal news of the soul.
What?
The news on me. I want the news on me. Shelter song.
God sends messengers.
She rolled her eyes.
God sends messengers. You like that one?
God sends messengers. Yes.
Just because we run into fool's gold doesn't mean there isn't real gold.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
don't play the demigod in disguise card.
Don't play the demigod.
Yeah, it's not nice to do that.
Don't play the demigod in disguise card. Hey,
Maybe I should have done that though.
I could be a demigod in disguise.
Your kids had. I should have answered the way your kids did. I should have said, "Well, maybe I'm a demigod in disguise."
Yes.
What about that?
Yes. You know what? I'm going to do that to my kids when I get home. Just for the
What are you
hell
gonna
of it.
The demigod in disguise thing.
I'm going to do that to my ex-wife.
Don't do that, Raghunath. Don't go there.
If she ever writes me a bad text,
I could be a demigod in disguise.
She wrote me during the show. Threw me off. I was like going to write her back right
Today?
now. I could be a demigod in disguise.